Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Transport Planning Unique podcast. This time we're heading down south. It's a nice, lovely little town called Finchampstead. And why is it so unique for our podcast? Well, if you've been driving around any kind of roundabout, you know that you're familiar with the environment. You see your white lines, black tarmac, circle in the middle, whether it's curbs or it's a dot, which is called a mini roundabout or a dot roundabout. That's your normal standard roundabout. However, in Finchampstead, it's really unique. Now, let's start from scratch. Finchampstead is in this location there, and to give you orientation, Wokingham is to the north, you got Bracknell to the northeast, and Reading to the northwest. The lovely thing about this town, it has some really nice names like California Country Park. The main road that runs to the south of the town is called the 9 Mile Ride. And the junction we wanted to share with you some ideas about today with our podcast is known as the California Cross, which is just where my cursor is, just about there. As I say, if you drive to it, this is what the California Cross looks like. Your usual dot roundabout in the middle, 3 arms, and then you have another dot roundabout with 3 arms. So this is called a Dumble roundabout. You can see where the pedestrian crossings are. And if you have tried to cross it, that's how it looks like. Really normal, traditional, caged crossing so that it protects pedestrians. And this is an important factor in our further discussions coming soon. You can see drivers coming to it. They know where the crossing is. They know where the stop lines are. They know where the road is. What the council has done is that. Look how unique that is. This how beautiful that design is. It's so unusual to talk about a roundabout or an infrastructure and call it pretty or lovely or beautiful. Indeed, it is beautiful. As I drove to it last Thursday, it was a lovely sunny Thursday afternoon, and I wanted to be there around the 2:30, 3 o'clock to see how people navigated in those peak hours, particularly that there is a school nearby. And I wanted to see the impact of the school and the crossings and the driver's behavior at that junction. So, drove down, went down, and the first thing that strikes you as you approach that roundabout is those amazing leaf prints that colors and changes the environment of the black tarmac. You get these beautiful autumnal colors, the greens, the yellows, the reds. It's so unusual, it's so beautiful. And the normal crossing points where you see, as a zebra crossing for example, those thick white lines and people know where to cross them, these have been changed into massive leaves. That's almost around probably meter plus in size. You still have your usual dropped curbs at the side, tactile paving and so on. It's so beautiful and unusual in their design. As I approach that junction, it's really funny because you approach it and you're on one hand thinking, I know exactly how I should be driving. On the other hand, you think, am I driving correctly? You start to slightly doubt yourself. And at the same time, you probably ask the same questions about people trying to cross that roundabout. What I wanted to do is do it in both ways. That on one hand, I wanted to be the driver and I see how I behave. And on the other hand, I wanted to be a pedestrian to see how pedestrians will behave. So, as a driver, you come to it, you come to those crossing points and those stop lines, and for a few seconds, you hesitate because you're not really sure where your stop line is. But it really is only momentarily because you enter the roundabout and more or less that's safer for you because you know exactly where you should be stopping. But on the other hand, so if you're entering that arm there, you think, oh, I need to stop because there's a pedestrian crossing. You enter the roundabout fine, beautiful leaves in the ground. You come to the second junction and you almost starting to hesitate for a second because you're not sure whether you should be stopping at this point, which is behind that white car you see there, or at this point, which is just behind the leaves, or do you drive across and stop at the other line and let the pedestrians go behind you? It's only momentary hesitation. But that hesitation slows you down as a driver, which if the council's idea is to try to slow down traffic and make people and pedestrians and cyclists more careful in crossing, they absolutely hit the nail on the head and they achieve that purpose, because it does do that. And I would say that was an amazing achievement, because it really is, whether you're a seasoned driver or you're experienced or you're just new and getting driver license, as you approach it, you're thrilled with this colorful feature on the road. Second, you're seeing those kids, and I did see them in person as they leave the school. They're skipping, they're happy, they approach the junction, and there's that joy inside them wanting to cross it with their parents, and you can see the parents grabbing them harder and harder to make sure they don't do it unsafely. At the same time, drivers look at the pedestrians and they actually smile because they're sharing the joy of that occasion. So it's just such an amazing achievement that the council have done at that roundabout. So I pass it as a driver, and as I say, momentary hesitation, but after about 15-20 minutes, as I was leaving the site and I was doing it in the opposite direction, that hesitation really started to disappear. Now I wanted to test it as a pedestrian. So I parked my car, you can see the service station at the corner there, and I came out and I stood at the side of the road. It's such refreshing to see how drivers become unsure whether you are trying to cross or you're just an observant, because as they approach the crossing points, and you see drivers almost hitting the brakes, trying to slow down, thinking I need to give priority, or I'm not sure what this guy or person standing on the side of the road is trying to do. So it gives them also that hesitation. And at the same time, for me as a pedestrian trying to cross, I was just thinking in my head, does he know I want to cross? Is that driver going to stop at that point and allow me to cross because it's my priority? Does he know I have the priority? So you get that slight hesitation. Beautiful children don't have that. The parents with their children who's been crossing that roundabout on a number of times, the morning and afternoons, day after day, know exactly what they need to do. And this is when you see the difference between people who are experienced to it and the people who are not experienced. To me, that tells me that it is safe. It tells me that it is a safe design. I'm sure it has gone with the Department for Transport standards. It met those road safety audits that accompany infrastructure designs. So I have no hesitation to say it is safe, but because it's new, it gives that slight hesitation to people, whether they're drivers, pedestrians, or cyclists. I spoke to a couple of people who were crossing that junction and I asked them what they think of it. So you get that amazing confliction of opinions from it's so refreshing, it's so vibrant, it's beautiful, it's making us happy, and you get others saying it's absolutely horrendous, it's dangerous, I have no hesitation that something is going to happen. I sincerely hope those people are wrong, because safety is paramount to everybody and the design is very important to everybody. But that's just the one man's opinion. What really counts is your opinion. Do you want to slow traffic down? I'm sure you will say yes. How do you do it? That's the question that always arises. Do you provide the familiar environment that drivers, pedestrians, cyclists are accustomed to? And because they're accustomed to it, they don't slow down. They think they have the priority, ignoring that the driver or the pedestrian may not be paying attention? Or do you think, well, we should make some changes and change the local environment to keep it fresh in people's mind, to keep that 1 second hesitation of not knowing what to do, and therefore becomes more careful? As I say, that's just one man's opinion. What do you think? Until next time, I bid you well and good luck.